Welcome back to the model for the 6 steps of the body paragraph. Hopefully you have already watched the 6 steps of the introduction and you're ready to start step 2, which is building your body paragraphs. I'm going to review with you the thesis statement from the earlier part where we talked about the introduction. So this student picked topic being the character Montresor, made the argument that this is an unreliable narrator, and then came up with 3 details that will be broken down into 3 body paragraphs. The thesis reads, Montresor from the Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe is an unreliable narrator because he is obsessed with revenge, he is sadistic, and he lies about his feelings of guilt. So now to actually review and talk about our steps to a body paragraph. The first step, number 1, is a transition word or phrase. So this student uses the word words to begin. Step number 2 then is where we actually create a topic sentence with an argument. You are going to use the same claim that you used in your thesis statement with the first supporting detail that you listed in your thesis statement. So this student's topic sentence reads, to begin, Montresor is an unreliable narrator because he is obsessed with revenge. One thing that I would change about this paper is I would work on sentence and word variety. It is acceptable to always be using unreliable narrator, but there are different ways in which a student might say that to not sound as redundant. And then there are different ways to state obsessed with revenge. So again, the wording is not completely redundant. The third step of a body paragraph then can be found here, where the student is talking about what happens in the story right before they are going to cite their textual evidence. So step number 3 we called in our notes setting the stage. So this student does a quick little plot summary. This is not long, but it's enough to give context to the story. The student writes, at the start of the story, the reader immediately senses this obsession because of Montresor's diction. He is indeed so obsessed with revenge that he fails to tell the reader the actual reasons behind wanting revenge on Fortunato. The fourth step that students need to use then in their body paragraphs is to actually give textual evidence and cite very specific words, passages that are going to support the argument that they are attempting to make in their thesis statement and their topic sentences. This student gave a great amount of textual evidence, which is an excellent example. They have 3 or 4 different quotes. They do a really nice job of leading into the textual evidence, so it's not just plopped into the paragraph, so it's a very smooth transition from the student's voice to the actual textual evidence. If you would read this with me, it says, the first 2 paragraphs of Poe's story uses such words as avenged, retribution, and immolation. Montresor even admits that he must not only punish, but punish with impunity. He later states, my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. Another thing that this student does that all students need to make sure they do is include the page number in parentheses at the end of the sentence. That is the page number that these quotes, these words, appear on in the text. The period, if you notice, goes all the way at the outside of the sentence every single time. There is no period by the quotation mark. The sentence is not completed until after that last parentheses. The student used 3 different examples of textual evidence. You at least need to have 1 in your body paragraph. But again, these are all excellent examples of ways in which to transition into textual evidence and ways to make sure that you have strong examples. The next part of a body paragraph, step 5, is really the most important part and where you will make sure that your argument is very apparent and clear. And this is where you need to be the most explicit about how your textual evidence proves your ideas. This is step 5, or what we call your analysis or explanation. So again, step 5, analysis or explanation. This should be 4 to 6 sentences in each body paragraph. And again, this is your own voice commenting on how the textual evidence proves the original claim that you were making back in your topic sentence about unreliable narrator or in your thesis statement. So let's read this student's analysis. A narrator who spends the first 2 paragraphs of the story discussing his hatred and revenge is clearly an insane person. Montresor's diction at this point in the story only demonstrates his hatred. A reader cannot trust a narrator who is obsessed with revenge because they are unable to tell the facts of a story in an unbiased manner, nor are they able to correctly portray the conflicts the characters experience. At this point in the story, the narrator is too emotional to convey the rest of the story truthfully. This is an excellent job analyzing the textual evidence and saying how it proves the claim of the thesis, which in this case was unreliable narrator. The final step to an essay would be to make sure that you have a concluding sentence that can serve as a transition. So this is step 6, and it's a simple sentence that basically suggests to the reader more information is coming, but I am going to kind of switch into another subtopic of how this claim is also proved. So this student wrote, "This is only one reason why Montresor is an unreliable narrator. It suggests that there is more to come and that you are going to further support this continued idea." You can see a topic sentence for the next paragraph, which starts, "Secondly," notice the transition word, "Montresor is an unreliable narrator because he is sadistic." Again, we have made sure that the claim from the thesis statement is there, and we have moved on to the second reason from the topic sentence. Second reason from the thesis statement to create the second body paragraph. I again would work on sentence and word variety, find different ways to state unreliable, find different words for sadistic so that you don't sound like you're just continually repeating yourself. I hope that helps in understanding the components of an introduction and body paragraph.